Hello and welcome everyone to Women Speakers Association WSA-TV. I'm Laura Rubenstein, your host and producer of WSA-TV. I'm also a digital media and marketing strategist, author of the book Social Media Myths Busted: The Small Business Guide to Online Revenue. I am so excited for today's show. We have incredible guests. By the way, if you're not yet a member of Women Speakers Association, check out joinwsa.com and you'll find out more details at the end as well. But today's topic is how to end family dysfunctional patterns. And we have two experts that I want to introduce to you right away and get into their advice. But first, let's just say hi to them. Hi, Danica.
Hi there. Thanks for having me today. I'm Danica Trebel. I am the I used to be a family dynamics coach. Now I switched it over to the family life coach. And my website is danicatrebel.org. And it's DANICATREBEL.org, which is already up there. And I am coming to you live from North Carolina today.
Woohoo! Welcome, Danica. Glad you're here. And let's go over to Candace and say hi, Danica. Candace, sorry.
Hello. Hi, Laura. Hi, Danica. Hi, everyone. I'm Candace Plattor, and my website is candaceplatter.com. And I am an addictions therapist working primarily with the loved ones of addicts.
Wow.
I'm coming to you from Vancouver, Canada.
Yay! We got Vancouver, North Carolina. All good. Yeah. So we have you both, addictions specialists and family communication specialists. So I'd like to know, what are the dysfunctional patterns you work with and how can we end them? Danica, tell us about that.
Oh, goodness. We'll see if we can make it through without crying. Families are locked into listening patterns that are generally automatically send teens into shutdown mode. And when we can help parents learn that it's not the teen's job to change, and we can help teens understand that, or the parents understand that it's not their job to demand change as well, then the whole paradigm shifts and the communication will change relationships for generations.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm seeing a lot of families being able to use that, and okay, this is a big job because we're often locked into patterns. I'm sure you see that.
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
All right. Well, Candace, tell us about the patterns you see that are dysfunctional and what to do about it.
Yeah. The loved ones of people who are struggling with addiction are struggling right alongside them, and there isn't a whole lot of help for them out there. And usually they just don't know what to do. They're so fearful. They're so afraid that the ones they love are going to die. And so they often enable addicts instead of actually helping them. So when we enable an addict, it's kind of like giving money to an addict. We're basically doing things that assist the addiction to continue. But when we pivot into a helping behavior, that's how we can help the addiction stop. So people need to learn the difference between enabling and helping.
Mm. So what I'm hearing from both of you is that there's patterns established that are really not working, and there's new paradigms that can be created over time, I'm sure. And it takes a lot of courage and it takes a lot of introspection. But if one is willing to do that, and you both have tools for that, right? That relationships can be transformed and healing can happen. This is profound work that you do. So let's talk a little bit about this passion that you have, or who you work with, what you really do for them. Tell us about your mission, Danica.
Oh my goodness. Whew. My heart is for teenagers, because so many times parents unknowingly steal their voices. I did it to my kids, and it was done to me. And it was through that self-reflection that you just mentioned that I was able to trace my history of eating disorders. There was decades of eating disorder patterns that I was able to realized that if I didn't fix me, my kids were going to end up like me or worse. And that was not an option. If I were going to be the reason that they had a living hell, that was worse than anything I could possibly ever imagine. And so I knew I needed to do something different so they could end up having different lives than I did. And it was through understanding the dynamics and the locked patterns of communication that really were able to transform my relationship with myself, my relationship with my family, my parents and my sister, and most importantly with my teenage sons. I can't hear you.
Who would have thought that your own personal issue would have resulted in the key to dealing with and creating a better relationship with your children? Wow. You know, that's huge paradigm shifting stuff. That's amazing work that you offer and have done and now can offer. Thank you. So Candace, tell us about your passion, your mission, and how you help people.
Well, I truly, deeply believe that addiction can be stopped. I mean, for me, it's incredible that it's gone on as long as it has and that it's getting worse and worse. It doesn't have to be that way. When we enable addicts, this is not a loving act toward them. It feels like it's loving to the loved one, but it really isn't. It's a way to keep that addiction going. If you give money to an addict and you know that that money is going to be used on drugs or alcohol or whatever the addiction is, and you keep doing that, what can happen except for the addiction to continue? So one of the sayings I love, there's two of them. One is, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always gotten. Mm-hmm. The second one I love is pretty much the same, but it's a lot simpler, that if nothing changes, nothing changes. And so we do need to come out of our own comfort zones as loved ones. We need to stop doing things that are hurting the addict. We need to love them enough to do what's right for them.
And how did you come to this awareness and knowledge?
Are you asking me for like my story?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm a recovering addict myself. I now have 29 years clean and sober. I celebrated that last month. How that started for me really briefly was that I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease in the early 70s, when it wasn't a very popular condition. Unfortunately, it is now. The doctors didn't know what to do for me, so they gave me a lot of addictive drugs like Valium and codeine and things like that. And my body became addicted to them. So for a long time, I used those until I finally made a decision to stop. I reached a bottom and made a decision to stop. And I've been in recovery for the last 29 years. So I know addiction inside out from an addict's point of view. And I'm also the loved one of addicts. And when I started working about 3 years into my recovery, I decided I wanted to work in the addiction field. So many people had helped me and I wanted to give back. So I started working as an addictions counselor and worked with drug addicts, alcoholics, and their loved ones started calling me at the end of their rope. What do? We love this person, but we hate this person. What do we do? And I had no idea what to tell them. But over the years, I understood. I kept hearing the stories. There were so many similarities, and I understood and was able to put together some strategies. And then I wrote a book, which is called Loving an Addict, Loving Yourself. It's the top 10 survival tips for loving someone with an addiction, which has won several awards, much to my surprise. So I know this field so well.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and I just want to say that if anybody had ever told me that I was going to be able to do anything that would help the world in my addiction or even in my recovery, I would have thought they were nuts. And so I know that people can change. I know, because I am a living example of that.
Lovely. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. And Danica, I believe you might have a book as well. Do you want to mention your title?
I have actually one that's a compilation with a bunch of other life coaches. It's called, I'll just preface with this, switch gears. My sons and I are actually writing books, and we're in the process of writing books right now. So I'm really more excited about those. It's going to be my older son and I, my younger son and I, and then the three of us have one together. So that'll be out by the end of the year, actually.
Great.
We don't have titles yet, but stay tuned.
Yep, stay close to your website. That's great. Well, this has been powerful to know that each of you have a story that prompted you to do, Candace, like you said, give back to the world. You've overcome something that not many people get to overcome, but you're making it possible for them.
Yes.
So kudos to your awesome work in helping develop great relationships with family members, loved ones, and that ripples out into the communities that we all live in. It's huge work, and that's what Women Speakers Association is all about. And I was wondering if each of you'd like to say a little bit about what you've either come to Women Speakers Association for or what you love about it already. So, Danica, I want to say a word?
Sure, I'd be happy to. The way my life works, I stumble upon things and then I act upon them. And I had stumbled across Women Speakers Association. It is definitely a platform that I would like to learn and grow. And it's my own fault that I haven't really been using it to its fullest advantage. So I intend to really dive in and get empowered by it. But the little bit of interaction I've had has been so amazing. Everybody's been encouraging, and there's no shame about not being involved. It's always just so encouraging, and everybody's so helpful. Just like with you today, you launched me further than I had been in years. So I can't say enough about it. And I think everybody who has the desire to use their story as a speaker should definitely join this platform.
Yes, great. We welcome you and your stories, and as much or as little as you want to be involved, but you're here today, so you're more involved than a lot of our members. And Candace, give us your insights into Women Speakers Association.
Well, I love it because it just gives exposure to women like myself, to professional women who are out there trying to make a difference in the world, who I'm sure are making a difference in the world. And I love the fact that there's an avenue to get that kind of exposure. And I really enjoy listening to the interviews as well, because there are people in the world I didn't know existed doing work that is amazing. So thank you.
You are so welcome. And that is why we do this. I'm going to share my screen one more time so everyone can see us all and see our, how to get in touch with you. If you're struggling with one of these areas of dysfunction, or you want that great relationship, you're not sure where to turn, Danica and Candace can help you. And so can Women Speakers Association. If you have a message to get out, please join us at Join WSA. We have 2 levels of membership. One is actually free. The one that Danica and Candace are at is the premier level. We like to feature you and help bring that visibility to your brand and your great work, and bring your great advice out here. So thank you again. We will see you next time on another episode of WSA-TV. In the meantime, make it a great day. Bye for now.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.